around the room. It was the first time I've been on some talented teams, but it was the first time I walked into a room and saw the amount of talent and the expectation. They weren't outwardly, because I just joined the team, but they weren't outwardly saying, hey, we're going to the World Series. But that was the intention from day one. It wasn't like we hope we're going to have a good year. It was expected. Mm-hmm. And, you see Roland, Edmonds, Pujols, Eckstein, the pitching staff that had Mulder, Carpenter, Isringhausen. Just the talent was just Molina behind the plate. You looked around the room like, wow, this is pretty unique. I haven't been in this situation before. So going into it, it was different from day one for me. Like I said, the other teams, the goal had always been there, and the hope was we could play well enough to compete to get to the postseason. Walking into that clubhouse, it was expected. So that was unique to start with. And then as a group, it's cliche, everyone's pulling on the same end of the rope, but it really was when the pitchers, I'll give an example. So let's say Mark Mulder's going to throw a bullpen. Chris Carpenter, Jeff Suppan, Anthony Reyes, all the other starters would walk down to the bullpen with him, and they'd watch him throw his bullpen, and they would watch everything. Are you tipping anything? Are you doing anything different here? Are you not finishing this? And they with the pitcher, with Duncan and with the bullpen coach, Marty Mason, would all work collectively with each person. So every time one pitcher went down, the whole group went.
That's awesome.
And it was phenomenal, and then the outfielders, the hitters meetings, everything it really was everyone pulling on the same side of the rope. The only goal was to play as well as we could to position ourselves for postseason play, and there was no hidden agenda. And if you weren't doing the work that was necessary to be done, someone in that clubhouse was going to call you out. If you're getting lazy with looking at scouting reports, if in team meetings, you haven't talked in 3 or 4 team meetings, they say, man, are you here? You got anything to add? I mean, come on, you got to get with us here, what we're trying to do. So it was unique in that regard. And then, sorry for the long answer, but this is great, man. The way it worked through, and it wasn't without its bumps. I think we had 3 8-game losing streaks that year. And Pujols went out with an oblique injury. Edmonds went out concussion. We lost Eckstein at one point, made him a hammy or a wrist. I think Roland went down at one time. Isringhausen needed surgery. So there were things that happened throughout there that were challenging, but there wasn't any woe is us, oh damn, here we go. It was like, all right, you plug in, let's go, let's keep moving forward. So and then once we hit the playoffs, so I think we went into the playoffs, no one was expecting much from us. And then we went into San Diego. On paper, the Mets were a monster. San Diego was very talented that year. And I remember walking in the clubhouse with Scott Spezio, and we looked at the starting lineup for that game 1, and Eckstein, Roland, Pujols, everybody who at one point or another had been hurt throughout the season, everybody was healthy. And at the first time since that April, I think that was the case.
Oh, wow.
And I believe that April was the most – I think we set a record for most wins in St. Louis history, but I think 2011 team broke it in the history of the Cardinals in that April. So that April we were on fire. And Pujols, then we started, some of the injuries started ticking off. But I remember walking in that clubhouse, and Spees both looked at each other after looking at that lineup, like, damn, man, everybody's healthy. That looks pretty damn good. And then, went through the playoffs.
We're not losing.
Went through the playoffs, won the World Series, and it's so hard to put into words what it was. I mean, we've all, I'm assuming, played wiffle ball in the backyard or throwing a ball up and hitting it yourself. And as a 7-year-old, hitting a home run, Game 7 World Series, or thinking about dog piling. And there's not enough things I could pile on. Birthdays, holidays, snow days, whatever that put into the emotion of what it was when that happened. I mean, lifelong goals for all of us. And I was fortunate enough to see it come through.
What time did you guys get out of the clubhouse that night?
Well, it was late. It was certainly late. And then we carried that over to another establishment not too far from the stadium. And some of the St. Louis faithful came out and enjoyed it with us. So
nice.
a few Diet Pepsis, a few slaps on the back, lots of hugs. And it was